Welcome back, everyone, to our tutorial series on Distant Worlds Universe. In the last episode, we covered how to manage your escorts, how to begin your first inter-system exploration. In this episode, we're going to unpause and let that continue, but what I'm going to start covering is a very complicated subject, and there's so many different tiers you can understand how to balance your resources. I myself am not an expert on it, but I feel like I have enough knowledge that in general I can prevent even late game resource losses or lack of a resource. What we want to do is use the expansion planner, and this is just going to be your guide, your tour of everything resource related. So there's like I'll try to start with the basic things. The most basic thing you can do, well, let me just explain what we're looking at here. The expansion planner has the list of every available resource, and there's a lot of them. But half of these we don't really need to concern ourselves with too much. If we sort by type, all these luxury ones aren't going to ever hold up or prevent our empire from doing something. They are exactly what they sound like, luxury resources, so they're not necessary. The strategic resources are definitely ones that we want access to because in some way, shape, or form, they influence the building of ships or stations. So I guess castle and hydrogen don't specifically influence the building of parts, but those are our fuel sources, so again, they're very important to have. So one simple way of managing your resources is just to try to get at least one source of everything. Another way, this is something I've introduced for myself. I don't know how other people do it, and actually, this might be an important time if people know of a better way of doing it, of leaving that in the comments. Or if I can come back at a later point, I'll put some kind of note on top of the screen of another way of doing it via annotation, probably note in the top or something, if I find a better way of doing this. But what I do is I also take a look at my stockpile. So this is my supply, and I compare it to the galaxy supply. And when I find that my stockpile is less than 10% of the galaxy stockpile, I start thinking that I might be a little bit low on that resource. That's just my own kind of way. So the stockpile is really not the best way of managing it, but it's not the worst either. It's a mechanism you can use. So one thing we could see, for example, is my helium is much below 10%. But actually, if we click on helium, we can see that, what is it used for? Okay, well, it's used for basic space reactors, and that probably explains why I have a small... we have like 9,000 units of it, so we're not really low on it, considering... you're not low on this unless you have, let's say, only 5,000 units per space station. Since we have one space station, we're probably fine with... I'm making up these numbers, though. I have no, analytical reason why I'm picking 5,000 as the number where you're getting low. But you just want to kind of look at trends. Another huge indicator is if one of your strategic resources has a price which is greater than 0.8. So we can see this is happening with Osalia. This is a perfect example. We can see that I'm below 10% of this. I actually have, this is like the worst indicator, that I have an outstanding request for some things with Osalia that I'm not able to generate yet. Unfulfilled requests. This means we're in big trouble here. If this happens with something which is a main component, thank God this is just... we don't have either of these things, so what the heck is using Osalia? I actually don't know. We don't have access to either of these technologies quite yet. Wait, do we have impact assault blasters? I might be getting this Let's Play, this confused with a series I'm doing. Yeah, we don't have impact assault blasters yet, so we can't even build those. Seems a little confusing to me, but it's a good indicator. I'm glad that it shows up because it's a good indicator of something we obviously are going to need to address in the future. So one way of keeping yourself safe, like the lowest, easiest thing to do, is just get one source of everything. As long as that source is at least over 50% at the mining rate. Then, as your empire grows, one won't be enough to supply everything. There's some general things like carbon fiber, which you kind of notoriously run low on. and you use them for a lot of important things. As we can see, they're used in their thrusters, the vectors, hyperdrives, so carbon fiber ends up being pretty important. Another one is steel, but steel is usually very well supplied throughout the galaxy. So you usually don't run out of steel unless you've done really poor management. But again, steel is, if you lose steel or carbon fiber, your empire will just start spiraling into death spiraling into oblivion, because you won't have the resources to even collect more resources, and then you'll just keep falling further and further behind. But it's really nice. You can just click on any resource and you can see, like, what is Emerald crystal used in? Well, this. If you want to know what the luxury resources are used for, you can click on them and they'll say, okay, this one is that. Generally, I don't really care about the luxury resources. If you find them, you generally pick them up, even if there's not the 120% rule. In my opinion, luxury resources are a reason to break from the rule of 120%. But I don't think I otherwise seek them out or do anything special with them. Like, it's not like if I have I'm missing vodka, that I'll look throughout the empire for a place where I can go get it. No, I'll just let these luxury resources come to me. The only exception with this, and that's something I'll probably talk about later, is there's a few super luxury resources. Karabian spice, and there's 2 more. I think there's 3 total. I could be wrong. Oh yeah, we just have to look for the prices of 100. Loros fruit, and there's one other. I could just sort by price. Zentabia fluid. Yes, that's right. These 3 are usually very rare, and you actually want to try everything you can to control these, because they are super resources. Sometimes there's only one in the entire galaxy. I'm not sure if there's cases where there's more than one. I just can't speak about it, like I don't know. So these, if you find these, you're very well advised to take every step possible to grab these sources. It looks like we already have 8,000 or 800 Centavian fluid in the galaxy. So either a nation started with one, maybe a pirates are already starting to mine it, or maybe a pirate mining station has already gone up on the Centavian fluid source. Anyway, so this is the expansion planner. That's the top half of the expansion planner. I haven't even gotten to like how to sort for things yourself. If you want, you can also use this sort by your empire priority, and then it's going to kind of weight things according to how much the game thinks you need them. But we can already see that it's a little bit silly, right? It's sorting by empire priority, and it's putting like Centavian fluid top, which, yeah, it's true. It's very nice to have, but we have luxury resources above strategic resources, which I would never do. But it does. I mean, this is already giving us a clear indicator. I think it's just sorting by price, which is still like a nice indicator. You can sort by price yourself and then just look for strategic resources. But the bottom price, the normal price, is 0.8. If the resource is not at 0.8 for you, that means it's probably a good idea to go ahead and get another source of that for the strategic resources. So those are a few mechanics for determining what kind of things you should expand for. That being said, if we close that for a second, before you even do that, there's probably just places in your initial system that you're going to be comparing. I think I already mentioned that we have right here gold and steel at 5173, but this one over here is gold and steel at 6977. So 6977, in both cases, it's better to go from this planet than this one, even though they both eclipse the 120% rule. Now, I would say that in this case, it's actually better not to double up. It's a little redundant. In fact, we probably already have sources of steel and gold. Let's just double check. Go to our expansion planner. I'm going to sort by name this time, so we can just quickly go to gold. We have 1, and steel, I'm sure we do. We have 1. So it would be redundant of us just to get one of these 2 already. So getting both of them is really unnecessary. But as I've said, it's not bad for you to harvest in your home system more resources than you might need, at least to start with. And steel is one of those that if you ever run out of it, I mean, it's so abundant we've already been able to see that it's unlikely you'll run out, but if you do, God help you. So let's get our construction ships busy. Let's just make sure that this guy's home. He's a Mark II, and he's ready to go. So this is going to be really fast now. Let's go back down to here, and I remember that this is our 7769. Let's build a normal mining station here. So just an ore mining station, super cheap. Get over there. Another one that I saw that we can build at, how I figured this out just by clicking through every single planet, is this one here. This one has lead, steel, and gold, so you can see how much more redundant we're going to be. Well, considering I now see that this has steel and gold, which I already have a supply of anyways, but it'll also give me lead. How's my lead supply looking currently? I have one source already, and yeah, we're probably doing fine. You can always tell what resource locations you have by selecting it from the drop-down box here. So we can see that I have one which is giving me lead at 24, steel at 17, gold at 21, and iridium at 53. You know, that's not that great for steel, lead, or gold. So we definitely can afford to pick up another source, which means that I'm going to switch this guy over to this system and to this guy instead, Eblu. So instead of doing your mining station there, build it here instead. Okay, good. So now we have a redundant source of gold, steel, lead. That's good. We have our gas station here, and we have our it was our original, but it's now kind of being reverted to a backup station, gas station here, especially because the Castellan mining rate is a little bit lower. But basically, anytime you find Castellan or hydrogen on a gas giant, you'll probably end up putting a mining station there, because fuel ends up being really important. Okay, so let's see. We have a desert planet here. What do we have? We have a gas mining ship already here, probably to collect the luxury resource because it can't collect silicon. This planet, even though it has a luxury resource, is probably not going to be our first priority because it doesn't have a high enough mining rate to make it a priority, even though, like I said, it has a luxury resource. Now, you could go and click through all the different planets, and I'm telling you, I honestly do. In the first system, I like to click through every planet and see what we have and where those different things are. But especially when it comes down to seeing what the asteroids in a system have, it's a little overwhelming to click on everything yourself. So let's go back to our expansion planner, and what we can do is, if you sort by galaxy priority, if you sort by your empire priority, it's just going to show you ones that it recommends you build, kind of. These are like if you left your construction ships on automatic, the ones that they would acquire. But I prefer to sort by galaxy priority, which just kind of grabs the most important resources according to the galaxy list. So instead of sorting by your empire priority, think of this by sorting by the galaxy priority. And basically what that means is you're sorting by the price of the unit, and it's going to give you the most expensive ones first. So we can see again that luxury resource is appearing first because I'm sure Nataran Incense has a price over 1. Yeah, it's a price of 3.3, so it is inflated, which makes it supposedly important for the AI. They would prioritize this. What we see is the next one for us, lead, steel, and gold, is actually the one I've already gotten the Majestic Interlude to build. You can actually select. So we have the rover of Usilea is ready as a construction ship. If I just click on any of these, I can actually send the rover of Usilea to build a mining station there. I don't prefer to do that because I have so many different mining station types. This is one of the disadvantages of not using a generic mining station, that you have this problem where you actually have to assign, you have to micromanage a little bit more, whether you should have an ore or an ore plus, which has a luxury one. So let's see what they have here. They're basically just saying the two that we've already looked at. The one I was already saying is good. And look at the total percentage of this one is like 190 thereabouts. And this one is actually pretty high as well. This one's 180, so not much worse off. But since it's the exact same 3 resources, let's skip this one for now. We can come back and build this one later. Because we only have so many construction ships, we should start diversifying a little bit. And I think this is probably going to be the one we diversify to. We have here polymer and a lithium crystal. Now I believe if I select this thing, this is going to be the planet we colonize first, which is probably the reason why I haven't gone already and built a mining station there, and I'm actually going to skip it still because we have colonization up next, and as soon as we colonize the planet, we'll be mining this at maximum rate, and our mining station on the surface, in the orbit, actually becomes useless. So let's continue to neglect this, considering that'll be absolutely priority number one as soon as colonization is ready, which should be next episode. Okay, so looking down, we have gold, steel. Well, we got those covered. Lead, steel. We're seeing a bit of redundancy here. And the moment you start seeing these things drop to less than 100%, well, now we can start probably ignoring most of this stuff. And I rarely, almost never, choose to put a mining station on something that only has a single resource. So what this means is, in our initial system, right now, we only want to expand to one extra mining station. Now, okay, so since we're going to have 2 construction ships left over, and we don't have anything for them to do, we might as well go ahead and snag this silicon Nataran incense. And honestly, silicon is one of those that can be a problem. It is involved in the construction of many, many different things. And it tends to be a little bit more rare for the races I play because it appears on sand planets. And if you're playing as the Actarians or the humans, the continental or ocean planets are not going to have silicon. So sometimes you have a scarcity of silicon. Okay, so let's get this planet then. We'll select it. We'll go to the target. I'll select my rover of Usilea. Right click on the planet. Control right click, I should say. And we're going to get a mining and or luxury. The ore luxury MS1 Plus. Okay. Well, we still have 1 construction ship which is available, but you know what? That's a good thing because soon enough we're going to explore systems. In fact, we're already starting to explore systems where we're going to find new planets with new resources. So let's see, this guy is, let's go up to something more than, let's go to 4x. So he's starting to explore, we're getting new planets, and these things will update in the expansion planner. So now if I go back to resources by galaxy priority, if we look at distance, well, within 100K is probably all our same system, and we can see that the green is all in a system we've already colonized. If I show asteroids, by the way, we can see if there's any asteroids worth colonizing, or not colonizing, but mining. It appears that another steel, iridium, and gold. Oh, iridium. Actually, we have not. Yeah, this is lead, and I got that confused with iridium. So this is iridium 42%. This one is iridium 62%. Otherwise, you know, this is 160, this is 180 total. So in some ways we would prefer this one. But let's go ahead and build on this asteroid because it's going to give us a good source of iridium. In fact, this is an even better one, 77 versus 62, but this will give us more resources. I honestly don't know which of these two is better. They're about even. You could probably justify building on both of them since they're both well over 120. Is there any other obvious choice for iridium? No, I don't think so. So let's see. 62. Let me ask ourselves. Do we already have a source of iridium? We do. Okay, so then it's not quite as important. We'll go with the 62. So I will select this, go to the target. Oh gosh, this is going to be very hard. We need EL721. Grab the Usilea Pearl. EL... We're as zoomed in as we can get, unfortunately. Oh, come on. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay, EL721, I got it now. Build at EL721, very good. We need just a mining station, not a luxury one. Okay, good. So now we'll have another mining station over there. All of our ships are now busy, but that's fine. Construction doesn't take too long. But as I was saying, when you pull up the Galaxy Priority tab, it's going to do a pretty good job of sorting for these, so I recommend that you don't touch any of these to force it to sort by something new. You want it to continue to sort by Galaxy Priority. That's the good thing to do. Now let's see if there's anything out of system. I'm going to stop showing asteroids. So far we only have single, Osalia is the only thing we would be interested in. Of course, if you ever want to look for a single one, like in our case, we are interested in Osalia, right? Because that's the one we currently don't have access to, even though I don't think we need access to it. We can go down here and pick Osalia, and we can see there's actually no available places with this. But if you find yourself being short of silicon or something like that, you can always filter by a specific resource. So I hope that this is helpful in understanding where you should expand to. Yeah, you can follow the very simple guide of just checking the price if the price is over 0.8, or you can do the other thing. By the way, I chose 10% for my comparison of my supply versus the Galaxy supply. I chose 10% because I think that's double the opponents we have. So as you increase the opponents, obviously your stockpile should be a smaller proportion of the Galaxy total. Another way of doing it is, again, if you have unfulfilled requests, which we now have some unfulfilled requests of Argon. I wonder why. These are... Yeah, we don't actually use any of these things. Very strange. So I'm not really sure. It might be some kind of... I really don't know how to explain this actually at this moment. So I'll try to come back to it in another episode if I figure it out. But for now, I can just say you can rely on the unfulfilled, because if we have an unfulfilled, it probably means we don't have a source of Argon. So it's true. It's still representing an issue. Sort by either having zero sources of a resource, the price, or by comparing your stockpile versus the Galaxy's. Those are 3 ways of determining how well you're doing on resources. And I guess the way I would say it's eventually going to happen is you'll develop kind of an intuition about it. Like, okay, when I have 10 colonies and then I should probably have 5 sources of everything, or something like that. You know, you'll just get a feel for it. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope this video was helpful. And in the next episode, we'll probably be running forward even more. And what I'll be doing is just trying to get our colony ship out. But we didn't really have a chance to find anything. You can see our construction ship is finally retrofitted to Mark II. So we have another one ready to go. Is there any place interesting that we would want to go? Still anything outside of the system? No. So that's what the exploration ships are for, though. They should eventually reveal some stuff to us. But until then, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.